Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. We're really excited that you are here and joining us. My name is Tammi Juengst. I am the director of Bold, and I am joined by the amazing, infamous Scott Toombs, and he's the director of Bold Growth. And we are both here today to do something that we've never done in the past, and that is just set you up to have the greatest success that you could possibly have in bringing Bold into your market center so that it fulfills everything that you're looking for it to fulfill. So without further ado, Scott, you want to jump in and let's walk through these. If you'll all grab a notepad, we are going to give you what we think are the top 10 things that when you hit them and you hit them at a high level, then you have a fantastic Bold.
Yeah. Well, Tammi, I look at it like this, I believe every one of us, when we sign up for Bold or we request a Bold, our intentions is to have a great Bold launch.
Absolutely.
And I love that we plan, and like Mike Tyson says, plans are really good until you get kind of punched in the face. And I think the opportunity as we go through these 10 things is to understand we want this to be the highest leveraged opportunity for market center leadership to do the most important things, to gross at R2s, right? To get production, to hit that culture, to close the back door. So how do we make this efficient, effective for you? And by the way, we've got time. Even if the August launch, we have time. For the October launches, we have time. So I think it's important when we understand the system, okay, we're a models and system company, how that can impact how we do it. So with everything, Tammi, we start off with number one. Now, I would ask, what do you think number one would be? And yet, I'm sure everybody would answer on the call the same, and yet we're not going to skip it. It is our mindset. It's the way that we think. 90% of success is the way that we think. And that goes for us in launching Bold as leaders too. Hey, by a show of hands, and I can see some of y'all, okay? So the ones I see, Stacy, how are you doing? The ones I can see is I want you to raise your hand. What is our mindset around launching Bold? Like, are we super excited? Or we think everybody's going to do it? Are we committed? Are we willing to do whatever it takes and follow a system? And I think that's our opportunity. How many of you have ever heard of the word decide before? Raise your hand. Okay, good. Nobody's Googling it right now. Look at Matt using a digital hand. I like tech people. So yeah, well, that word ends with a side. And if you think of other words that start with aside, they're not great words. And if you look up the word aside in Latin, which you probably would never do, and yet somebody did because I read it, when you look up the word aside, it means to cut. It's literally the death of all other options. So when we look at our mindset, how are we going into the launch is a huge predictor of the outcome of that launch. Passion wins 100% of the time. I'll give you an example. How many of you have thought about goats lately? Okay, me either. I haven't thought about a goat, honestly, ever. Do I think goats are cute? Marilyn, you have goats? Dude, I'm coming to you then, because they are super cute. I love when they fall over, just lay there. But I'm not a big goat person. I don't think about them often. And yet I'm on a flight one time from Louisville to Austin. I'm sitting beside this young man named Scott Pinella, who had just gotten back from Uganda adopting 2 wonderful, wonderful kids. And they had to live over there for 3 months. And he started a foundation. By the time I got off the plane, I had a Give a Goat hat, and I was giving him money because I wanted to support all the goats that he was doing. I just want us to understand that as leadership, our mindset around this launch is we got to understand that our passion wins 100% of the time. We set the pace, speed of the leader, speed of the pack. So Tammi, is there anything else? I mean, am I missing something? I know we're all thinking about goats now. I know I am. Are we missing something that we need to hit on with mindset?
No, I think you nailed it. It's everything. It's why we start everything. It's why every one of Gary's books starts with mindset. It's, when you look at any successful people, it all starts with how you think. So it's why we start there, and just keeping that passion around the why behind what it is that you're doing behind a Bold is paramount, because when we get tired, that passion is what drives you through.
Well, when you think about it, Tammi, how many people get their real estate license to get out of real estate? Like, How many people got their license to not sell homes? Every single person in your office right now, the ones who haven't had a deal and the ones succeeding at the highest level, guys, every day they are trusting that our leadership is going to put their hand under their feet and just lift them up a little bit. Every day, every day. And I think that's when we have that mindset to come from that servant heart. We have it. Okay, I'll calm down, Tammi. You go ahead.
He's good. Scott is on fire, y'all. Like, this is good. This is good. I love it. I love it. All right. So we start with mindset. That is number one. It's probably like 1 through 5, to be honest with you. However, we do have 9 others for you. So mindset is number 1. Number 2, the thing that you can work on right away is where are you going to have bold? Getting your venue is of the highest importance. And Scott, one of the things that you and I were talking about is, some of our training rooms in the market center can hold a bold, and we totally support you in that, because our goal is this: it is to have bold be zero cost to the market center, right? There should not be any cost associated with it. So that also means acquiring sponsors and the people that your agents are supporting. Then we're asking them to turn around and support us as well. With that, it being said, let me just share something when it comes to a venue. And Scott, I get a little bit passionate around this one for 2 reasons. Because number 1, I'm going to go back and I'm going to repeat it just because it bears repeating. We absolutely have to have this be zero cost to you guys, right? That is one of our really big goals. And we know where things are right now. And so we're not looking to increase any expenses. Number 2, it is different when a bold is in the market center. Now, it's not that it is not successful. It's not that it doesn't work, because it does. The difference is the mindset of the participants. When they're used to coming into the office and going to a training at the office or going to the team meeting, sometimes going to a bold there feels almost like going to the same thing. Scott, am I hitting that on the head?
Yeah.
Right? It's when they have it offsite and it's something that's really special and unique. It is just that for them. Now, please don't hear me say that you can't have it in the market center, because you can. You can. Just if there's a way to zero cost that, and that means going out and acquiring those sponsors to help zero that cost out, check into that. Check into that before we just say, oh, let's just have it in the market center because it's the easiest thing to do. Right. All right. Awesome. All right. So that's number 2, is secure the vendor and make sure that it's zero cost to you. Number 3, we have got this amazing tool. And Scott, I am going to share my slide with everyone.
That's awesome.
Yeah. See, I love when that works, by the way. It's really nice in a Zoom when it works. We've got something that we call, it's the bold bet on leadership. It's bold in a box, right? So we call it Bob. Some of you might be familiar with this. And for some of you, it might be the first time that you're seeing it. And really what this is if you think about what a toolbox is, when you have tools in your toolbox and you pull out those tools, they make everything that you're looking to fix or work on easier. And that's what it's designed to do, is just to make things easier. Everything that you need for a launch is inside of this toolbox. And I'm going to scroll down through this just to show you some of it. You'll see, when we start the activity 6 weeks out, there's literally a calendar of things that you can do. And guys, when we see a bold launch that hits their goals and just really knocks it out of the park, they are the ones that when we go back and we ask, hey, what did you do? Like, okay, what made this successful? And they literally just follow the model. And we kind of know, like, if we follow all of this, starting those 6 weeks out, then we see the success. So here is your calendar, number 1. It also will house everything that you need. So here's your launch date. All of your registration links will be on here. This is something that you would get from your bold coach. So as you walk down through here, you'll see there's overviews of everything. And then all of a sudden you get to the checklist. Here's your 6 weeks out. If you hover on anything in blue and you just click on it, you'll see there are videos here. There are social media posts for you to be able to post. Everything that you need is here. Same thing, as you scroll down, here are emails. and by the way, you can change these, sometimes it's nice when you have just a model to work from, and then you can tweak it and make it a little better, or speak to your market center. You can change some things. Same thing, there's some text messages in here for you to use. And it goes all the way down 5 weeks, 4 weeks, 3 weeks. And then as we scroll down through here, let me get down to the bottom. I don't want to do it too quickly. You'll see that all the email that goes out to your past Bold graduates. And all of a sudden, here's all kinds of resources and tools for the leadership that are down here. So on this link here, we actually have their conversations. So if I were to open this, which I just did, there are conversations over here to help you have those one-on-one conversations, right? Again, we're a company of models, and this is a model around how you have a great conversation with someone that isn't just, hey, we have Bold coming, are you going? And they say no, and you're like, oh, okay, right? So there are some resources in here for us to help you have better conversations, and conversations that lead to a favorable outcome. We're going to talk about team meeting in just a moment. However, there are panel questions. There are ways to set up the team meeting, the things to put on the chairs, how to decorate the room. We've got examples of decoration ideas of market centers just absolutely nail this piece. Some best practices around venues, some things that would be required in a venue. And then we've got some strategies and the ultimate success formula. Everything that you need to launch a successful Bold all starts in this toolbox, right? So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Any questions on the toolbox? Yes. Asking where we can access Bob now. You get that from your Bold coach, and at the same time, Scott, I don't see any reason we couldn't share that.
No, absolutely. Why not? Let them have it.
Yep, we'll share that. We'll share that in advance. Let me see if Madeline is that something that I can throw in the chat with if I'm using my link?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right. Well, then while I do that, Scott, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Well, that's awesome. And by the way, just watching that, it gets me all excited. I don't know if I'm seeing the depth of how awesome that is. So that's great. So I want us to go back and just keep going through these things. Number one is mindset, right? We've got to get that right. The number one predictor of the outcome is literally the way that we think. Number two is that venue. How do we zero cost Bold? That's what it was designed to be. Okay. The easiest lever at no cost to you. The third thing is using Bold in the box and letting that be the staple. You reminded me of a foundation. It's kind of like, hey, here's the house. Now you can decorate it if you want to, but the house is there. And that's what Bold in the box, Bold in a box, or Bob, does for you. The next thing is leadership calls. How many of you have launched Bold before? Raise your hand. Awesome. I know that's great. Perfect. We have some hands went up. Matthew, yours didn't. So this will be your first timer. So we like you. Okay. Well, here's the cool thing about the leadership calls. Is our leadership calls are designed, number one, to bring value to you as a leader. Okay. So there's usually 5 calls. Even if we have, 8 weeks to launch, 12 weeks to launch, 5 weeks to launch. And we believe that's a really good number, is 5. Because, by the way, as leadership in this company, do you get up any day and say, I wish I had more calls to be on? Just give me one more, right? Give me one more call to be on. And yet our calls are very, very purposeful. Number one is to add value to you as a leader, not just in launching Bold, but you as a leader in this company, you as a leader of your recruiting, you as a leader of your market center. And so we're absolutely going to bring value on every single call. The other part of that call, though, is so that we can walk through the strategies, the conversations, and the plans that are going to be the most effective and efficient for you to get people to say yes. And by the way, we're very, very purposeful around the language that we use. Okay. So when we have these conversations, we'll role play some of the things that are going to happen. You're going to come back with objections, and we can play out those objections. Those calls, though, when everybody participates in them, that's every one of our leaders, that's part of launching Bold. With every participating market center, the outcomes are predictably different. A matter of fact, it's our goal for every one of our leaders to want to be on that call because you're receiving such great value from it. Does that work? So when you get with your coach and you set those dates, make sure you let them know, hey, these are the times that we can do. And then put them in your calendar and be on them. Your bold experience as a leader starts when you get the assignment. Because we're also teaching you when you do an event and can be purposeful, whether it's a Keller Williams University event, whether it's bold, whatever it is, we're going to show you how you can fill that room with the greatest ease. Are we good? Perfect. Next thing is this. And by the way, I need to give credit to the person that brought this to my attention. And her name is Laura Donna Getty. Do y'all know Laura Donna? She's out of Atlanta, on the north side. Absolutely amazing team leader and puts a lot of people in the bold rooms. And she shared this concept with us of red light, green light, yellow light. Red light, yellow light, green light. Okay. As a strategy, and this is our next one, as a strategy to fill the bold room. So how many of you have a top-down report or a list of all the agents in your office? We all do, right? I mean, that's part of being a leader. And what she did, and she was purposeful about it, is she got her staff. They broke this call list up. And the staff made the call and simply asked, hey, bold is coming. Would you like for us to go ahead and register you? And they'd get a response. It would either be yes, it would be no, or let me think about it. If it was a yes, they would put a green mark beside it. Now, it was an Excel sheet. And if it was a no, they would put a red. And if it was a maybe, let me think about it, they would put yellow. Now, what was great about this is we could see at the end of the day, everybody had a conversation with everybody in the market center, or at least, left a message, reached out to them. So we had green, we had yellow, and we had red. Well, the next week, the call log was pretty thin. They went to the yellow next and said, how many of these yellows can we convert to green? And then they went to the red and said, how can we get these reds to a yellow at least? And every week going in, they did that. And she absolutely puts in 60 to 80 people from her market center into bold every single year using this simple system. And by the way, as team leaders, you don't have to call everybody. It's how do we break our staff up and have them be the support of it. And what's a great call list for the team leader is the yellow. Okay, those are the ones that you might want to have the conversations with. Because guys, if you've learned anything in bold, we know that it's going to take at least 5 times to get them to a yes.
That's right.
Only 8% of salespeople ask the 5th time, and over 60% of sales are completed after the 5th one. Does that make sense? This is a great strategy to use. And what it does is it gets crystal clear clarity. Crystal clear clarity. Here's where we are. And it's not right or wrong. It's simply evidence. And by the way, evidence removes emotion and helps us take action. Are we good?
Very good. And Scott, one of the things I love about how Laura Donna does that, and just to piggyback on what he's sharing that she does with this is, outside of the fact that the byproduct is putting folks in a bold room and just transforming their lives, is that they're having all these conversations with the people in their market center. Yep. And here's the thing, like, we know when people do leave, it's usually they're either out of culture or they're not making money. And we find those things out by having those conversations. So those calls are not just about bold, they're care calls. It's just touching base and talking with your people. So it's just a great opportunity to combine those two things.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's perfect. Well, there's no negative for being in conversations with your agents, right? No negative whatsoever.
No conversation will necessarily, let me see, how do I want to put this? Oh my gosh, Scott.
I know it. Let me tell you.
What I say, don't you?
Yeah.
And, yes. Oh gosh, lack of conversation. Yeah, you can't have too many conversations with people. Lack of conversations will get you out of relationship.
Yep. Yeah. It's not the conversations that are the reason when people leave or relationships dissolve. It's the lack of conversations is why it does. So yeah, you're absolutely right. Awesome.
Yeah, so true. All right. So number 1 was mindset. Number 2 was venue and zero costing. Did I just cut you off?
You did. That's okay though. Go ahead.
All right, number 3 was using Bold in a Box or Bob. And then it was the leadership calls with your Bold coach that start about 5 weeks out. And then Scott just wrapped up on the one-on-one calls, and that's number 5. Number 6 would be having your ALC on board. I mean, Agent Leadership Council, they are leaders, and leadership, per John Maxwell, just means to have influence. And they have such great influence. And if we let them know that Bold is coming and they know in advance, they can plan their calendars. And if you can get your ALC on board and they're 100% behind it, that is huge leverage to a leadership team in a market center. Leverage the relationships that you have with your ALC. Your Bold coaches will also be asking to have a meeting with your ALC where it's simply meant for the Bold coach to pour into the ALC, not to ask for help from them. That can be part of that conversation. However, it is all about pouring into the ALC and helping them grow as leaders and helping them grow their businesses. So if you can get the ALC to know in advance that Bold is coming and get 100% of the buy-in with your ALC, it is a huge, huge, huge leverage piece for your market center, right? Yes, ALC. Thank you, Trish. All right. So number 7, we're up to 7, is the team meeting. Oh my gosh, Scott, this is a big one.
It is.
This is a real big one.
Yeah, it is. Well, and how many of y'all do team meetings? I know I ask very simple questions. How many of you have ever done a team meeting before? Let me ask you, is it a struggle to get people to show up for your team meeting? Some of y'all are like, no. Here's what I love is we want to look for efficient leverage path. And I think that what we've talked about already is leading us to that. Okay, just imagine in one day if you can get 100% of your ALC bought in, right? Would that be beneficial for you as a leader when launching Bold? Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. And then if we could do the heavy lifting at the team meeting, and yet to me, when we talk about the team meeting, it's just like an event for an agent. The opportunity is not the meeting alone. It's the build up to the meeting. It's the meeting in itself. And then it's the follow up after the meeting. That's how you take advantage of a team meeting. And by the way, like we've said it over and over, we're a models and systems company, and we have a model and system to follow for a team meeting. And what it's not is we're not a vendor that's going to get 5 minutes because that's not going to be very much leverage for you as leadership to have people register that day. The whole focus behind the team meeting is one thing: to help get people to make the right choice to register for Bold that day. That's what it's designed to do. And we have a plan. When you implement the plan, it is amazing what happens. How many of you have ever put IKEA furniture together? Raise your hand. Okay. Oh, awesome. Skip, you've done that. That's great. Listen, have you ever done it without the directions? Yeah. How many times do you have to take it back apart and put it back together correctly? Right. What I love about IKEA, they have simple stickman directions. And if you follow the directions, you get what was in the box. Yes. To me, the team meeting is just like that. We can follow the plan and the results are awesome. I mean, it really is. If we build the attendance, if we know what's going to happen that time, if we have registrations ready, if we have all of our balloons to pop, whatever it may be in that model, when we follow the model, the outcomes are predictable. When we don't follow the model, then we're using personality. We're have our fingers crossed, and we do not get the same results. And this was designed to be a huge lever point. Tammy, my mindset going into a launch is very simple. Number one, the one-on-one conversations have to happen. Okay, I mean, you can scrape away everything else, guys. You're leaders, right? I mean, would you tell an agent, hey, whatever you do, don't call anybody in your database, just do a bunch of other stuff around them? Well, the answer is absolutely not, right? So the one-on-one conversation to me is the greatest opportunity for us as leaders. The second one is the ALC meeting, because if we can get 100% of our ALC on board, they go to the team meeting and they raise their hand and say, we're in. Here's my registration. Yeah,
it's part of that whole team meeting process.
It is. And then the third one is nailing that team meeting. And my goal and my mindset is I want to hit our goal with those 3 things. Right. If we can do that, what a great launch, right?
Well, it is. And when we talk about the models, and I'll give you all an example. the team meeting literally is like the bold in a box. Well, we have it mapped out. I mean, like what you say, how you set up the room, how you create the energy, how you get people to show up. I mean, it's everything that is making that meeting be successful. And I had one particular bold launch where one leadership team in one location absolutely just nailed it. I mean, they took the model, they followed it, and boom. And by the way, exceeded their goal for the day at the team meeting. And Scott, it was like 36 registrations just from their team meeting. The very next day, another location that I was working with to launch a bold had the model, we're on the same call. And for whatever reason, they just did a team meeting the way that they would normally do. And bold was a good 10-minute, like a vendor popping in and having a cameo, if you will, and 3 people signed up. And so what happened was this huge momentum piece, and momentum is a leader's best friend, right? I mean, the moment you get momentum and people are signed up, think about this, when we leverage the ones that sign up, Scott. So all of a sudden, if I have 30 people sign up at a team meeting, I have a social media post. I mean, if I posted 3 people a day in my internal Facebook page, this one signed up, this one signed up, this one signed up, this one signed up. I have their faces on the wall in the office. All of a sudden, that momentum is working for me, and I'm not doing all the heavy lifting. And so when we talk about the team meeting, please hear us with all the passion in the world. That team meeting is one of the biggest leverage pieces for you that we can help you with. And when we follow the recipe, it's like when you take eggs out of a chocolate cake, Scott, you get brownies, right?
Oh, do you? I didn't know
like
that.
this. I don't know. They don't go like this though, right? And so here's the thing: you got to follow the recipe, and it works, and it's a lot of fun too. That's a lot of fun.
Hey, Tammi, I'll share one more quick one, and this is not working to top your story because your story was awesome. I'll tell you the greatest team meeting story that I've ever experienced. As we were launching in Virginia, and we were doing a launch, had the team meeting set up. They'd had the panel, they were following the directions. I was going to take it from the airport, and my flight was delayed, and I was going to be in the air. So an hour and a half before the team meeting, I have to call the team leader and leadership and say, listen, I'm going to be in the air. I will not be in the meeting.
Yep.
Okay? They said, Scott, we're prepared. We're going to go anyways. They had 37 people register without the bold coach even being on the call. That's how well the system works.
Yep.
You throw eye candy like this on there, that's a plus. I get that. And yet I got to tell you, it's not that at all. It's the system that works.
It is. It's excitement that it generates. Yep. And we teach you how to create the gap, right? Where bold can fill the gap. Where we don't have when there's not a gap, humans don't feel the need to jump into anything that's going to help fill a gap that they don't know doesn't exist. So we have to teach you to teach them to find the gap, and then we fill the gap for them.
I love it. I love it.
It's a beautiful thing.
Hey, let me run through real quick before we hit the next one, and we're both going to talk about the next one because this might be the lever that we haven't pulled at the highest level. And I think we can change that and impact our market center. So number one, what do we talk about? Mindset. The way that we think matters. It always will. It's the most important thing. You want to change your thinking, change your world. Bold law. Zero out your costs for bold. Get sponsors. Figure out how to make this a win for your market center. Using bold in a box. I got to tell you, just watching Tammi go through that, I got excited about bold in a box again. I forget how much is in there. Okay. Be on leadership calls, be prepared, take notes, grab the value that your coach is going to deliver. And then we get down to the actions, one-on-one conversations. I always look at it this, and one of my leaders of our market center, Tessa's on here, and she's phenomenal. Care enough about your people to have a conversation with them. Whether they say yes or no, we don't control the outcome. We control the activity, right? Everybody should be asked. I just think it's so important. Then go to your ALC meeting. And our goal is to nail the ALC so we get 100% participation. Right. And then what we talked about, Tammi, on that last one is the team meeting and the leverage that it can be when we implement the system. The leverage it can be when we implement the system. So I'm so excited to talk about number 8. And I know 10 is going to kind of go along with it. And yet I want us to both jump in. I want to talk about bold. Number 8 is recruits.
Yep.
Is recruits. So here's what's interesting. Why don't we just ask this question? How many of y'all are purposeful about getting R2 recruits to bold? Raise your hand. Awesome. Do you know what the conversion rate is in a bold room with R2s?
60%.
You nailed it, Skip. If I had a gold star, I'd give it to you. I do not have one though. So yeah, it's 60%. So just imagine if you got 10 R2s into a bold room, 6 of them would join your company within 6 months. A lot of them during that 8 weeks. Okay. Now here's what I've discovered, Tammy, is I'm not sure if we've helped our leaders make that a priority. Okay. And how do they go about it? Now, what we've done though, is we've incentivized it. So we give every participating market center 5 discounted codes for R2 recruits. So a recruit can go for $199. Okay.
Woo! That's so awesome.
Well, spend $1,000 to have 3 R2s join your company. I mean, I all day long. Well, what's amazing to me, guys, it's not bold. You understand? It's not the coach. It's an 8-week recruiting appointment.
Yeah.
Most of you could get somebody to marry you in 8 weeks, much less join our company. That's the opportunity. It's hard to be in a bold room and be in that conversation and go back to your office and think everything's okay. It is a different language.
And Scott, for the record, that is an average of 60%. We see rooms where, I mean, it's like 90% of them are joining. So it can be even more than that. And here's the thing. I mean, they're immersed in our culture for 7 weeks. We have them for you while we're together. They're creating bonds and relationships with the people on their teams. And it's hard. It's hard for them to go back into an environment where they don't have this. And right now, with the market shifting the way that it has, they're not being poured into where they're at. And again, I'll go back to what I talked about with the team meetings, guys. They don't even know sometimes that there's a gap that can be filled. They don't know where to even turn to get information. You've got some of our megas that, these are twos that are just killing it in business, and yet they were never in business in the last shift. So what just happened to them could be stopping them dead in their tracks. They're full of anxiety and they're not sleeping at night. And all of a sudden you invite them to this place called Bold, and it's like their whole world changes. So it's an incredible opportunity, and so much of one that, yes, $199 for 5 of them in your market center. Here's the other thing, Scott, by the way, I'm going to tie in number 10 is, I'm going to tie back into this one because it goes along with this. Once Bold launches in your market center, we haven't told you number 9 yet, so don't think that we skipped it. I'm just skipping to number 10 on our list, is you can bring a recruit with you every week to Bold. You're still having conversations with new people in your world as Bold launches. Every week, bring 1 or 2 of them with you. They'll sit with you at a table, or you can sit them with the agents at the table. If we know in advance, the coach will send you that week's material so that you can print it off, and they'll have that week's material so that they walk out of there and they've spent a day growing themselves and growing their businesses. So Bold doesn't stop once we launch. You still have opportunity through those all 7 steps. So make sure that you're doing that, right? Leverage.
Well, yeah. Well, Tammy, I think you're so right. When we look at, do y'all know why Bold was written? Can I share this?
Mm-hmm.
Do y'all know why Bold was written? Just shake your head, yes or no. Okay, or don't do anything. I'm kidding. Well, here's the cool thing. I think a lot of us think Bold was written for the real estate agent. I mean, you have to understand, after the last shift, the president of our company at the time went to the CEO of Maps and said, we need to get a program that gets our market centers profitable. We had 26% of our market centers that were not profitable at the time. So Bold was written because of that. Now, we're a company where agent production has to be good for market center profitability. That's a win-win.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Bold was written for. It's written so that market centers have profit. And if you look at the numbers now through April, you'd be kind of shocked at where we are profitability wise in some of our market centers. We are all feeling a little bit of that shift. This is designed to be the lever to pull. It was designed for you as market center leaders. And when we look at the opportunity for recruiting, and I think this is so amazing, it doesn't matter how many show up. Okay. I want you to hear me, and I don't want you to think I'm weird, but imagine going to your top 100 R2 recruits or your top 50 and say, you know what? I'm going to reach out to every one of them. I'm going to invite them to Bold. Then I'm going to follow up with that invite with a call and tell them what Bold is about. Then I might have some of them jump on a call with our coach so he can share what Bold's about. And maybe 5 of them end up coming, but you've created 45 more relationships with R2s. It gives you purpose to reach out. It gives you purpose. Am I overexcited about that?
I know, Kayla, great one. She said, I would love a recruiting playbook for Bold, maybe adopt it from Bob. Kayla, I love that so much. We have all kinds of strategies around how to get the R2s into Bold. And by the way, those strategies didn't come from us. They came from leaders like yourselves that went out and got creative and had massive success with it. And all we did was, R&D, which is a model, right? Rip off and duplicate and bring it to all of you and share that. So yeah, we will absolutely share those models with you. I mean, we've seen people send out, golden envelopes, and because what is it? Right now we're averaging 11 transactions over those 7 weeks, and 8 of those are actually pieces of business that are under contract. So I've watched leaders send out 8 golden envelopes, and inside that envelope, every single envelope had a check in the average commission amount for that agent made out to that agent. I mean, it was like a fake check. Come on, y'all. Make sure it's fake check. And it works, right? Because it creates that curiosity. Like, what is this? Had another one do 8 checks and had them delivered in a box with all kinds of like fun little stuff. And it was when we were doing an August Bold, and they also invited them to attend Mega Camp. So it was to attend Bold and Mega Camp, and they sent them a box and had all kinds of cool stuff in it. And by the way, very successful at getting people into the Bold room. So there's a lot of creative things that you can do. Scott, when you and I were talking a couple of days ago, you shared with me that somebody sent out, it was like 50 handwritten notes to R2.
We had a team leader out of Lexington, Kentucky, write 53 handwritten invitations. Out of those 53, 12 showed up for the first step to Bold, and 7 ended up going through the process of Bold. And I believe that 5 out of the 7 joined the company within the 8 weeks of Bold.
Awesome.
She had great relationships with a lot of the people that she wrote those letters to. And it's not a recruiting event. Let's give value to them and let the experience be part of the recruiting process for them. What we want this to be is when you look, guys, I'm an operating partner. We understand that our number one focus as leaders in this company is R2s. So how do we go capture more of them? To me, this gives us purpose. It gives us a reason to reach out. It gives them a place to go, and it gives us 8 weeks to cement that relationship. 8 weeks. Yeah. There's no other lever that you can pull for $199 and get an 8-week appointment with top producing agents in your area or R2s. That's my thought.
Yes. Well, and the room does the heavy lifting, right? They get in relationship with the agents, and it's pretty amazing. And by the way, some of them will come to Bold 2 and 3 times before they make a decision. I did have someone that she was in her 3rd Bold and was not with Keller Williams and joined in this last one. So, they come back, and it's pretty awesome.
One of the coolest stories, I think it was, I forgot whose room it was in. Maybe it was Flint. I'm not sure. But a lady that was there had been coming, didn't really want to go, came because the team leader sent her an invitation, asked her, told her what it was about, stood up at the end of Bold and ripped her business card up and says, I'm joining Keller Williams. It was very, very dramatic. I did too. I love that. All right, let's hit that last one, Tammy.
Yes. All right, last one, guys. Last one, and it's number 9, right? We'll go back down through them all together. Number 9 are your vendor partners, and vendor partners. Oftentimes, we look at them to help offset cost and sponsor, and the agents are giving to them. Here's one of the things that we can do to help put people in that Bold room and make it a great experience is to invite your vendors to also attend. As Bold attendees. They get to spend 7 weeks with your agents and grow with them and build those relationships. And it's an amazing thing. I have watched, I've had photographers in there, people that aren't even in real estate, Scott. I mean, people that do some of the MLM stuff. You know, there's a lot of health things that are out there that people do, and they come in and just knock it out of the park, because what we're teaching is just how to build a business.
Yeah.
All of the conversations that we share with agents can be modified to work with any business.
Yep.
And so don't forget, get your vendors in there, talk with your agents about the vendors that they would like to see and who they're in relationship with, because it does help you create some energy in the bold room. And something that I want to touch on, Scott, and I just thought of it, and it's not on our list. So here's some bonus material, because you know what? We like to go the extra mile around here. So here's number 11, right? We want to under promise and over deliver. Is the way that we engineer your bold room also contributes to the success. And here's what I mean by that. A perfect bold room would be, yes, you would have brand new licensees. You would have your quarter cappers, your half cappers, your 3/4 cappers, and your cappers. When we have that across the board, and you have your megas and your rainmakers in there, we coach to the highest level in the room, not to the lowest level, right? And so all of a sudden what you see happen is you can take a brand new agent and you can bypass getting that to be a quarter capper. They can absolutely walk out of bold with enough transactions under their belt to be a half capper. And we see it happen time and time and time again. And the perfect engineering of that room is really what makes the magic sauce happen inside of those bold rooms. So there's number 11. There's your bonus material.
Well, it's the perfect. I look at it like painting by numbers. Any of y'all paint by numbers as a kid? Remember how much fun that was? If you're uncreative like me, I just paint by numbers. Yeah. Well, when you paint by numbers and you look at a room like that and you go, what could have the greatest impact on company dollar? I mean, you just designed the room. I mean, have 20% of it that you're high producing agent. They need the mindset. People that are, when the market shift, who gets hurt? Is it people that are, have $1 million in GCI and lose 300,000, or is the person that has 0 transactions and loses 0? So we got to remember, although our top producing agents are top producing, are they producing at the level that they've created a life around? Okay. So we got to get their mindset right. So 20% of that should be your top producing people. 20% can be new. That's 60% in the middle are people that have done transactions that we can create new cappers out of. That has the greatest impact on your company dollar.
That middle part, that 60% are the ones that drive the company dollar.
Yep.
We know that bold can take a brand new agent and turn them into a quarter capper. I've seen way more than not that they bypass that and they go to half cappers. We know that quarter cappers go to half go to 3/4, 3/4 go to cappers. And that's where the magic happens inside those rooms, is when we're really intentional and purposeful about who we put in that room instead of just checking a box.
Correct. Love it.
Yes. Well, golly, Scott. Okay, so we said 10.
Yep.
We gave 11. Let's go back down through these one more time, and then we're going to open it up to all of you for questions. Scott and I are here to help you and make sure that we cover everything. Number 1 was mindset. Without it, we don't have anything else, right? 90% of our success all begins with how we think. Number 2 was getting a venue and making sure that you zero cost it to the market center. How do we offset that? Number 3 was following the model, right? Following bold in a box, Bob. Number 4 were those leadership calls, and you being there, having your teams there, being really purposeful along with your coach, because your coach is there to pour into you and help you grow and be successful. Number 5 was having those all important one-on-one calls, because without them, really nothing else happens. Number 6 was 100% buy-in with your ALC. Number 7 was just knocking it out of the park and following the model around the team meeting, like from front to back. By the way, you will not have to plan that team meeting at all. We're just going to give you the recipe. It's awesome. Number 8 and number 10 were around recruits. So it was the R2s and getting the R2s in the room. And number 10 was bringing recruits every week as bold launches to sit with you. And number 9 in between there was the vendors. And number 11 was engineering the perfect blend of experience in your rooms. Right?
You nailed it, Tammi. You just nailed it.
Yes. Isn't Scott awesome?
Yeah.
So
Thanks, Skip. You got a little clap for me. I like that.
you got one clap. Woo, it's a win. It's a win.
It was just a quick one too. It's a all right.
All right. So, oh, Jesse, it is our pleasure, all our pleasure, right, to do this. What questions do you all have? Feel free to unmute and throw something out there. Was this beneficial to all of you?
Awesome.
Awesome.
Awesome. Love what you guys are doing. So thank you so much.
Thank
Now,
you.
I just I'm starting off my mindset this right now, and I'm just curious, what's the biggest bold that we can have? What's the maximum? I know it's changed a little over the years, so I just wanted to understand what the latest standard would be around room size.
How many can you fit into a venue? That's kind of the goal.
Okay.
Yes, we are working on that, Skip. So that is a great question. Having a cap on it may be something that we put back in place because we had removed those caps. So that's a very valid question. And by the way, here's why that's so important. If you hear us come back and put a cap on it, it's because of the experience. It's the number one thing that we care about is the experience. And when rooms get so large, the connectivity and the intimacy and the growth that can happen, the ability to coach at a really high level gets hindered because of the size of the room. So yes, you may see that. In the past, it was 110.
Yeah, and Skip and Tammy nailed that. You know, we're not a training company. We're a coaching and conditioning program. So we're not like a 1 or 2 day program where people come in and they just get, you know, entertained and information. What we do is we create habits. And when we get too big, sometimes we do lose the engagement. And our goal is every person that spends 7 weeks and $799 with us walks out different than when they walked in. Mm-hmm. We want to engage and they feel a part of that program. You know, it was interesting. I just did Bold in Tulsa, the last round. 87 of the 100 people had taken Bold before. Okay. We got to, when we connect, we make your job easier every time Bold comes.
Yeah. Yeah. The whole idea is when we leave a Bold, it is everybody thirsty for the next one, right? That's the goal right now. Actually, Madeline, thank you. We capped it at 150. So you may see that, you might see that change. All right. So Vicky, I'm going to come to you, then Matt, and then Marilyn, I'm going to answer yours in the chat. Vicky.
Yes, I just had a question about, are we still doing Bold ambassadors for each market center? And then that's the first question. And then if we do Bold ambassadors, do they actually get their tuition comped to them for being the ambassador?
I know both Scott and I are like,
What we use as a Bold coordinator.
Okay.
So we have a Bold coordinator for each launch. That Bold coordinator does get their Bold paid for by the coach. So it's not free. The coach is actually taking the money and spending it on that Bold coordinator. Now that Bold coordinator is basically, they act like an ambassador. They're there in the morning to help set up. They're there in the afternoon to clean up. They're our connection during those 8 weeks. When I say 8 weeks, we have a skip week. So I just count all the weeks for the 7 steps.
Okay.
Coordinator is covered. Yes.
Okay. All right. Great. Thank you.
Great question.
I will say, just to all of you is, we have had more often than not leadership teams that have decided that a Bold coordinator not be completely compensated by a coach, and that the Bold coordinator actually cover that, because it's $199 is what it is, so that they have some skin in the game and they still actually become Bold, and it's not just, hey, I got a free ride. We know when people don't have skin in the game, they don't show up the same. And so don't be surprised if you have a coaching conversation with your coach where they ask you, how would you like that to be handled? Right. And I like it when they have some skin in the game as well. So yeah, you will see coaches do that though. Matt.
I have a question. I've coordinated Bold before, so I'm excited to be back part of it. but we definitely are trying to look at venues. Is there any target date when we're actually going to know for our bold when we're going to, because that's kind of where I'm at now. I can't really lock in the date with the venues and the price and the zero and get our vendors on without that.
Yeah. Well, and this is one we know that is always a can be a challenge. So our goal is this, and I think transparency is the best thing. Our goal is to have coaches for October assigned by mid-July. Okay, that's going to give you a 12-week lead in until the October launch.
Ours is August.
Oh, you should have. What location are you in?
Yeah.
Phoenix. It's Phoenix.
Yeah. So they do you know who your coach is, Matt?
I gotta go look at my email from our general manager.
I think it's signed today. And so your coach will be reaching out, and y'all should do that immediately.
Okay.
On that.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. Sorry about that, Matt. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Enjoy.
great. It's a great one. And Marilyn, you have a great question. Is there any data around the most effective time of year to host a bold? The past several years we did October. You found it to be difficult to get signups and get vendors because of the time of year. Here's what I'll say to that. No, there's really no bad time to have it. What we do see is a lot of market centers will host it twice a year, and they'll have them on, 6 months apart from each other. So we'll see either the spring and the fall, or we see January and August. And that's the most popular thing that we see, where people have it every 6 months. And here's why. When you think about the cycle of activity to results, while we're in bold and they're with us for those 7 weeks, you'll see the results while they're in there. However, because there's a 90-day cycle around activity to results, bold also shows up for about 3 months after bold ends. So, it's really there for about 5 months. And then by the time it starts to taper off, boom, you have it again. And it really is, it's a beautiful recipe. So I will say that, August and October are probably our most popular, because what you're doing is you're setting everybody up for a really fabulous 2024.
Yeah.
Right. Walking in. And we do still have, we have opportunity for August. As you heard Scott say, we just started assigning coaches to locations today. There is plenty of time, and we do have some spots available for you to take advantage of that opportunity in August. And it really does get them staying in activity over the holidays, when they typically can step out of the office. Kind of like when Halloween rolls around, it's like, where'd everybody go? Right. And they come back January 5th. Yeah. So it gets them in that activity. All right, let's see.
Hey, real quick, Marilyn, it's boldprograms.com. If you go to bold program, I'm sorry, boldprogram.com. Trish, if you'll put it in the chat box, if you'll go there, request it, we'll get the paperwork out to you. You guys have plenty of time. We're actually assigning our coaches early. So we got, we don't launch until the first full week of August, which is a ways away. It usually takes 4 weeks to launch a bold, and this is almost double that. So
yeah, we have lots of runway. We're good. Hey, Kayla.
Kayla.
Hey, good morning. So are there any best practices around helping agents hold back money to pay for bold?
Great question. Great question.
That is a great question. Yes, we see market centers start when they know that they've requested a bold a ways out. They literally will, every time there's a closing, would you like us to hold $200 or $300, depending on the runway that you have, so that they actually help them save it like a savings account, if you will. Something else that I saw a market center do really successfully, and I thought, wow, this is pretty ingenious. Again, R&D, right? A lot of market centers will have reimbursement programs for people that are taking bold, where maybe they reimburse them over 4 transactions that they write during bold, and they get like $200 a transaction back. Some of them do it in 8, some of them do it in 2. I mean, there's all different ways that they do it. However, what I saw was one market center decided that when they were reimbursing, they gave the agents the option of, instead of the reimbursement going back to them, it got reimbursed back into the future bold account. So they really only did it the one time. And then the moment they got a bold assigned, they had all these agents already have the money sitting in an account with the market center, and they've just knocked it out of the park immediately.
Well, that makes it easy for them to say yes. Kayla, the other thing I have some market centers that are doing is they're actually creating savings account. So they've gone to agents who are interested in bold in August or October or 2024. And they said, hey, do you want us to do this? And what they do is add on a cost to each bill that goes toward their bold fund. So they're creating a savings account for them. Now, I don't know how you do that on the background. I'm not an MCA. They are way more gifted than I am. And
As
yet,
an MCA, I'm so sorry I have to cut you off, but as an MCA, that is a terrible system because it's not a true savings account.
okay.
And that puts a lot of responsibility on the MCA. And that can get really messy, especially when the agents leave. Our office previously used to do that. And then we had lots of agents who thought we owed them money. And it was very time consuming task. So I highly recommend not doing that.
Okay, so I would listen to Maryland then. Okay.
Yeah,
sorry.
There.
Maryland. That's why I love y'all. I mean, seriously.
Yes, it is.
Very creative on our side. Not always thinking about the action has to have behind it.
Yes, messy. I love it. Skip.
Yes, thank you. Just quick question about the leadership registration. I wasn't sure if that's still something that you offer a discount with or what?
Yep. Every market center, participating market center gets 4 leadership discount codes, and it's half the price. It's $3.99.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Yes.
And we believe, and by the way, I mean, leadership should participate in bold. If our people are in there, then that's where I want to be. That's the 8 weeks that you get to celebrate. So I love that. Vicki, go ahead.
So if we have 2 or 3 market centers that are participating in our bowl, do they each get 5 recruits at $199?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, and leadership as well.
Yep.
Yes.
4 leadership. Yes.
4 leadership. Okay, and
It is
market center.
5,
Okay.
it's 5 leadership.
Oh, it
Okay.
is? Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. Go ahead.
Yep,
Oh, it's 5 leadership, 5 recruits
Yes, to make it.
per market center. So if I have 3, I get 15 that are participating, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
We want you to fill those 15 recruits in leadership because we believe it's the best place for them to be.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Welcome.
Yes.
Well, guys, we're got 2 minutes left. I trust everybody got value. Tammy, you want to finish it up?
Yeah, thank you so much for being here.
Wait, I have a question.
Yes.
Matt.
Matthew.
Sorry, this is to piggyback off of Vicky's question. So if we have, let's just say there's 3 market centers involved and each is allocated 5 $1.99 coupons. If market center B and C don't use their tokens, can they transfer?
Madeline, can you answer that for me?
Yeah, absolutely. So we allot the discount codes per location of bold, but the total is calculated based off of market centers. So if you have 3 participating market centers for your location, you would get 15 discount codes for leadership and for recruit. You can allocate those how you need, if that makes sense.
Yep. So if one market center didn't use them, then another one could take advantage of that and use them. Yes. I love it.
Everything that we've done in this build up to the new bold coming out in August is we want this to be the biggest win for leadership. Our goal, guys, is that every time there's an opportunity to bring bold, it's the first lever that you pull for the profitability of your market center, to close that back door for your culture into gross agents. This is the lever you should be pulling.
That's it. And we are really excited about the new rewrite and the new structure. It's fun. And it's gonna be an awesome launch in August. All right. Well, Vicki, thank you.
Thank you.
So much for being here. We're here. We're a resource. Reach out to us. Let us know how we can help you, and be on the lookout. Scott and I, our goal is to continue doing webinars where we can help you, and just keep joining us.
We appreciate you guys. Thank y'all. Have a great one.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you. Thank you.